Hey, I'm Dakota with the Arclight Dynamics tech team, and today I'm going to show you the workflow process of the Arclight CNC control system. I'm going to first start by making a control cabinet pivot tab that we've made on many of our CNC tables, and I'm going to start by going into QCAD to draw that up. I'm going to start by using a 2x2 square as a base. And it looks like I already have a 2x2 square ready to go. So we'll go ahead and place that square, and we're going to use an arc to close off that square. We're going to go ahead and put our bolt hole on the center of our pivot tab on the reference line we've made. We'll delete our reference line out of there, and then we'll go ahead and save this file. So we're going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to save this as a DXF. We're just going to call this Pivot Tab. And we'll save it right on our desktop. Then from here, we'll go into SheetCam, open up our DXF file that we've saved. So we're going to go to File, New Part to do that. We'll select our pivot tab, and we'll go ahead and set our operation on it by going to Operation Plasma Cut. In setting this operation, I'm going to make sure that I have all my settings correct in here. I'm going to check my contour method as outside offset since we're cutting apart. Our layer is 0 since that's where our drawing lives on. And our tool, the most important part, is matching what we have on the table. So since we have fine cut consumables, we're going to be using fine cut 45 amp. And since we have 16 gauge steel on the table, our tool is going to say 16 gauge steel. So the fine cut 45 amp 16 gauge steel. Then from here, I'm going to make sure I have a lead in, and I'm going to get rid of the lead out, only because we're cutting some pretty thin material here. It'll set our operation on there. We can see it as a green toolpath. And from here, we can go to File, Run Post Processor to turn this into G-code so our Arclight CNC software can read that. We'll save this on the desktop, and we're just going to save it as Pivot Tab. And now we're good to go into our CNC program and go ahead and cut this out. The first thing we're going to do when we get into the CNC program is we're going to power on the controller by hitting the power button. Then after that, the very next thing we need to do is home the table. By homing the table, we're not only squaring the gantry, but we're telling the table its limits. Then from here, we can move the torch over to where we want to make our cut. We're going to hold Shift on the keyboard and use our arrow keys to move it. And since we use the bottom left-hand corner of SheetCam as our reference, we're going to set the torch at the bottom left-hand corner of where we want our part. I'm going to go to File, select that file that I made, we'll hit Set Start to tell it this is where we want the program to live, and I'm going to hit Test IHS. It's going to go down and touch off on the material and tell it the height of the material. Then I'm going to uncheck that. And from here, I'm good to go ahead and just hit Run. I can hit this play button here. The torch is going to blow out air for about 10 seconds. That's standard to cool off the consumables. This is the workflow process for our Arclight Dynamics control system.